I'd promised you on Worldview here about SDGs, and it's all about the Sustainable Development Goals that, if you remember, are a universal call to put an end to poverty, hunger, gender inequality, environmental degradation, among other global problems. And so to achieve this ambitious set of targets, awareness is key in Kenya, and a huge part of the population remains unaware of these goals, making tracking the progress of them rather difficult. So, with us in studio this afternoon are members of Team Environment Kenya and Africa Speaks, partners who've organized a 54-kilometer cycling event aimed at raising awareness on the SDGs. So we'll talk about that. Why cycling, why 54, and what this whole thing is about and what they hope to achieve. Thank you guys for coming in. We have Matthew Ochanda, we have Douglas Sidialo, as well as Warima Mugi. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Matthew, let me start with you. So, how was this idea mooted? Why cycling? What is this about?
Thank you so much for allowing us to be on set. Ideally, the mutation of this idea was from a partner, colleague, and friend. It's called Muzenda Munya. Is in Zimbabwe, whom we've been working together through our cross-county partnerships and linkages. We have been processing a thought over. We were supposed to have done it last year, but this year became so ideal with the commemoration of Africa AU at 54 and all. And so it was shared to us through a friend, Africa Speaks, the director called Munya, and it is from that we conceptualized this idea of cycling, and cycling 54 for 4 kilometers, incorporating all 54 African countries. Yes.
Okay. So, Warima, let me ask you, how would cycling be able to raise awareness for the SDGs? So why did you pick cycling and not swimming and not running and not just about any other activity?
Team Environment Kenya is basically about goal number 13, that is on climate change. And cycling is very relevant to that goal because when you look at cycling, it's one of the methods of transport that does not emit harmful fuels to the environment, and that it also helps exercise for the body, which also supports goal number 3 about good health and well-being. It also supports economic growth because we waste a lot of money in traffic that could be reinvested to the nation's other economic ventures. So cycling is very relevant to this, to goal number 13.
I see. So it's also helping to push some of the goals. So will you be cycling around the country, around the continent? What does the activity look like?
For this particular event, the one on May 13th, we'll be cycling around Nairobi for this time, but you're planning to venture into other parts of the country, other counties, Nakuru, Mombasa, and Kisumu.
Okay. We'll come back to whether this will actually go continental. It will be interesting to hear. But Douglas, tell us how you got involved in the project and why this is something that you want to be involved with.
Well, I'm one of the most accomplished blind adventure cyclists in the world. And when I heard about what Team Environment was doing, especially on cycling, which I so much cherish, I felt that this is something I would definitely want to be involved to push the SDG agenda forward. Because most of the times when these kind of activities happen, people with disability are left behind. And I felt that I would be a champion to lead that part of the community in championing the SDG, especially in, not just in Kenya, but in the whole continent of Africa.
Yeah. Matthew, it's definitely a boost having Douglas with the sort of gravitas that he brings to this one, I bet, yes?
Yes, it is indeed a boost. And like I would say, I did have mentioned to us that who is Team Environment Kenya? Team Environment Kenya is a community-based environmental, social, and economic enterprise that encompasses everybody and anybody that is passionate about environmental conservation, preservation, and its restoration. And the mantra that governs us as we seek to champion and make known the SDGs is leaving no one behind. So we wanted to be as inclusive as we could possibly do.
Right.
And with the cycling activity being the spot of our engagement to doing this, or our tool of use, it is an activity that, I mean, even a 15-year-old year, a 12-year-old, a 10-year-old can be incorporated. And therefore, we are working on having everybody come on board on the 13th to cycle together with us. We're working, if possible, on making available bicycles so that you don't necessarily have to come with your own.
Okay.
We will make available bicycles for those that will just want to exercise.
Right.
And with us, maybe I need to make also clear, the 4 kilometers we have mapped out Nairobi. We'll do it from town to Karen Shopping Center, down to Langata Road through Galleria. Then you do a U-turn at the on Mombasa Road, or Le Sereni, to be more precise. Then you do Mombasa Road down up to City Cabanas. After the footbridge, you make a U-turn back to town. That's exactly 54.9 kilometers.
So there's a lot of symbolism and significance even in what you're doing. So it's celebrating, Africa at 54. But let's also talk about, the linkages, because this is not just about SDGs. And I want us to talk about the awareness about, the issues that you are trying to raise. So there's the SDGs, there's, Agenda 2063, which is the African agenda for the same. So when you were obviously going through this, informing the decision to start to do something for it, what did you gauge as the level of awareness for some of these very important, policies and that have been taken up? Did you find that people aren't aware, don't care, they don't understand this, and therefore then you came up with this idea for cycling?
Ideally, it is indeed true that prior to the SDGs, we had the Millennium Development Goals. They really were an alien document. Most people asking them today what Millennium Development Goals were all about, they'll scarcely have an idea. And this document was crafted 2 years ago, and it being adopted by 169 nations, and they are ideally branded as global goals. They're not just UN goals or African Union goals, and therefore the awareness of this document and the content thereof is scarcely in the public domain. And we have lived to blame the harsh weather conditions, which in this season, in the recent season, it has bitten us so hard with innumerable deaths of both livestock and human beings.
So there's the possibility to just start to draw those linkages between what's happening in our lives and how important the SDGs are.
Yes.
Warima, so what are some of the activities? So you'll cycle through, but then, how does the awareness raising then come up? Is it just you cycle through? Do you stop? Do you talk to people? Do you raise awareness on this? Are you wearing T-shirts that, espouse the SDGs, the various goals?
Cycling will be the major event, but we'll start the campaigns first from social media, and then there will be material, there will be T-shirts, clothes that will also carry the message. And also at our main point, we will have exhibitions where people will be talking about what exactly these SDGs are, why are they important to us. And the good thing about cycling, people will see you go round instead of you being crowded in one place. So they'll want to know what this is all about. And that's the importance, because you'll stop and tell them we are cycling because of A, B, C, D, E, and this is how you're contributing in your small way as Mama Mboga, in your small way as a student. This is how you can contribute to make sure that we push this agenda forward.
Is there a plan to then cycle to other cities on the continent?
Not at the moment, but...
Well, maybe what I can say...
Would be fun, because Douglas, you've done something like this.
Actually, I got much involved with the SDG because my very good friend, Mr. Polman, who is the global CEO of Unilever, was in the panel of the UN panel on the SDG with Betty Maina. And Mr. Polman is also the president of Kilimanjaro Blind Trust, of which I'm a board member. And this is something that is really dear to my heart, especially cycling. And I've done a lot of cycling events locally here in Kenya, and I've also cycled across Africa from Cairo to Cape Town in 2007.
So would you want to do this for the SDGs?
Yes,
cycle across Africa?
Actually, I'm going to South Africa tomorrow.
Oh, great.
For a big cycling event from called the 2017 edition of All Mutual Go Back to Sea. That's cycling from Johannesburg to Durban. That will take me 900 kilometers in 9 days.
Wow.
And this will be actually the third time I'll be aiming to complete that race.
So you'll take the SDGs
So I'm taking
message
SDG
to
right
Durban,
to
yeah?
South Africa, to the continent of Africa, and hopefully the whole world.
Okay, talk to us about the involvement of persons with disability. I know you've alluded to this just a short while ago, but to what extent do you think the SDGs benefit minorities, persons with disability, and you know, what's the sort of approach and messaging that we can do for both persons with disability and others to sort of make sure that we're as inclusive as we possibly can be, Douglas?
When it comes to issues of poverty eradication, issue of environment, this affects each and everybody.
Yeah.
Does not matter whether you are able-bodied or you have a disability. So I feel that people with disability just must be included.
Yeah, and because they do bear the brunt quite a bit.
Yes. But I think they need to be included from the onset. We should not just be used as people who are called upon just to participate. We must be actors. So if we make people with disability as key actors in the whole SDG agenda, I think they will get to realize that they're part and parcel of the society, and they'll also help drive the objectives, goals, and aspiration of this SDG forward in a greater perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. Matthew, I'd like to just see if we can get some final words from you on, you know, what this is all about, why it's important, and just a call out to Kenyans. So when we see you out there, we know, you know, this is Team Environment Kenya, this is what they're doing, and why SDGs are important. I think even amongst the youth, I mean, Douglas has talked about, you know, it being all-inclusive and having persons with disability as actors as well. Do you think the youth have taken this up, or are they just leaving it to the leaders and saying, yeah, okay, you'll explain to us what SDGs are about, but just a call to also young people to get involved in the implementation of this?
Thank you so much. Indeed, that's why we took up this challenge as a youthful, vibrant young enterprise, seeking just to make a difference. You realize that, and this being just the pre-launch of the days to come. So we hope to be having conversations around what's going to be happening in the next couple of months, because the main event will be on the 13th. However, like the curtain raiser to the 3 days or 4 days of events, we will have an awareness creation campaign. We'll do the walk, a cleaning exercise and activity of it's ambitious, but it's doable, of the 54 kilometers. We're hoping and seeking to be flagged off from NEMA offices and grounds. So it's going to be all inclusive of all the youths and all passionate environmentalists. That will be on Wednesday, on 10th. Then it will be preceded by 2 days of workshops and exhibitions at the KICC grounds. We have made a request to have us have institutions of higher learning, corporates, and other key players to come and exhibit on the various components of the 17 SDGs. So thereafter, that will be on Thursday and Friday, and the Saturday will have a culmination of the whole week, 3-day series of events with the cycling event and activity. And we're hoping to have the representatives, high commissioners and ambassadors from the 54 countries, most probably joining up with us on either of those days or on the final day during the cycling. It's important to note also that, like you may know, the key players towards the realization and the execution of the SDGs are the academia, the civil society, and the business sector or the corporate. And so we are making an appeal to all business enterprises to really come in handy and support us, be part and parcel of this initiative. And for the youths, through the universities or higher learning institutions that they would be representing or come from, we are seeking to really have you, because you are a key player as the academia, to ensure that this document is not as alien as it is. The content therein is unpackaged, is defragmented, so that even the Mama Mboga can really understand what they need to do to play a key role towards the realization of it.
Wairima, I'd like to give you the final say, and as you talk about that, also the importance for young people to be interested in what's happening on the continent, Africa. I know, Agenda 2063 is a big one, celebrating Africa at 54, tied into the SDGs.
The one thing that you need to know, the agenda is, we've done already at 2017, supposed to be 15 years. It's the young people who of today who are going to be the beneficiaries. The generations to come are going to be the beneficiaries. And if we don't take an active role in making sure we push this agenda forward, we will be the ones to suffer and the generations to come. So we can't sit and blame the government as young people and say they have not done A, B, C, D. The government is us, we are the government. All those other things are institutions of government. But I'm very impressed because there are a number of organizations that involve young people in championing for SDGs, like some that I come from myself. There's African Youth Network for Empowerment and Transformation. It's a brainchild of an amazing young man called Guguni Nyabade, and is also nurtured by Strathmore University, which seeks to train young people from the high school levels about sustainable development goals. So when they go out here, they know what exactly we're talking about. So it's upon us as young people to take this initiative and push it forward because it's for our benefit.
Great. Thank you very much. Wairima Mugi, Douglas Sidialo, and Matthew Ochanda. We thank you all and we wish you the best. With that, Douglas, keep flying our flag high even as you go to Durban.
Thank you. I'm really glad that Kenya Airways, the pride of Africa, is supporting an air ticket. Old Mutual Africa is supporting me for the event, and Kilimanjaro Blind Trust Africa as well. So thank you all Kenyans, and hope you'll follow me along the way.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Matthew Ochanda, Douglas Sidialo, and Wairima Mugi. I'm sorry, we're out of time.
I want to say thank you to the Ministry of Devolution, who are the custodians of the SDGs. They have supported us, and we have their goodwill even as we are on set, and they are seeking to really guide us as we seek to champion and create awareness of this very, very important document, the Sustainable Development Goals. Thank you so much.
Thank you all for joining us today. We wish you the best, and we'll definitely be catching up and tracking your progress with that. All right, so here we are, right here on Worldview. We want to take a look at the headlines that are making headlines around the world. Trix Ngata joins me now from our